Still listening or singing?
I miss From Shades.
Thank you, Kevin.
Yes.
Get to.
We are 2 minutes away. 2 minutes away. I don't think I have a song that's under 2 minutes though. Darn it. Oh.
Thank you, sorry.
Don't sit in the mouth and do that.
Oh, well, it doesn't matter. We're about a minute away, so. Bappity bap 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 bap.
I'm just worried about the drink, that's all.
All right, I think we're just gonna get this started. I am scared.
Don't be
I
scared.
have terrible stage fright, but I
Lightning
gotta learn
Bliss.
to do
Lightning
this.
Bliss.
Hey,
Lightning-
we're all friends
This is
here.
not helping, by the way.
We're all friends here.
Yes,
So.
yes.
Take
I
slow, deep breath.
am still fairly new to panels, but I keep making myself do these, at least one, so that I learn how to do it. So bear with me. I will do my best to make this entertaining as possible at my own disadvantage. So yes, hello folks, and welcome to this panel. I wrote notes because I am totally a Twilight. Okay, so I assume that who all is attending here either are interested in creating their own Alicorn OC, want to understand what it takes to make one, or simply want to see me screw up. It's fine. But either way, I'm happy you guys are all here. Thank you for coming. It really does help me to say, hey, you can do this. You can do this. Come on, you got this. So hopefully we'll have a fun session. First and foremost, I want to point out that anything I say here comes from my own experience. This can also be used to create other characters. It doesn't have to be an Alicorn. You can actually use these tips to help you make other characters because it actually works for other character designs, like other OCs you want to make. It doesn't have to be an Alicorn. So keep that in mind. So, who is this character?
Lightning
Lightning
Bliss.
Bliss, no. A good character that's being created, regardless of what you establish as their power level, needs to have 3 main establishments. Let's see if I got that going. Traits, abilities, and emotions. And right now we're going to start off with traits. With an Alicorn OC, it gets a little difficult because many will fall into the trap of how an Alicorn is viewed within the community. Based on the facts from the show of Hasbro Generation 4 specifically. So when it comes to their traits, it is obvious that your Alicorn OC needs to be powerful because it is expected. However, the one thing to remember when it comes to this trait is that they are powerful, but not overpowered. Everybody got that?
Yes, ma'am.
Everybody get that?
Yes.
So, how does one go about not making your Alicorn overpowered? How to avoid it? Give them a weakness! Your Alicorn should not be invincible. Otherwise, you will fall into the dreaded term of our internet's very own Mary Sue or Gary Stu. A character that is so perfect that they even defy the writings of the narrative. Basically, that means they will never grow. They will never develop. Whether this is good or bad, it doesn't matter. They're perfectly evil or they're perfectly good. Either way, they will defy the writings of the narrative and they will never grow. And the one thing you want to have with any character is growth.
What if they're like?
Oh, wait. Let's take a Q&A till the very end if we have time. I'm sorry. Because I want to make sure I get through everything. So, a good example, we're going to use my character for this evening. Lightning Bliss's weaknesses and skills. So, think about what skills you want to give them and what weaknesses you want to give them. Why is this important to have for any OC though? Well, because it keeps the character grounded and more relatable to the average viewer. Viewers of your OC will acknowledge and have better understanding for your OC and their traits. In other words, they'll just relate to them better. If they can relate to their own weaknesses, sorry, I'm really bad at this. Otherwise, if the character were, say, invincible, they'd be uninteresting. They'd be pretty boring. A character that is never challenged by others' views or powers is really boring to watch, and it tends to be used in the background of average stories rather than being a main protagonist. So, let's say Superman. Take Superman. Now, he works in his own story because he actually does have a weakness. He's weak to kryptonite. And he's also weakened by his own ego at times. Whereas, let's take Lightning Bliss. Lightning Bliss has a chip on her shoulder. She's very bratty, and she's very easy to get upset or angry. Is there a problem, sweetie?
I can't find a seat. Like I'm
There's-
sitting a seat with.
Oh, there's some seats up here in the front. And there's a seat right here, too.
All right.
Yeah, no problem. I'm always happy to help and accommodate. Thank you guys. Thank you for understanding. So, yeah, with Bliss, she, not only that though, despite the fact that she hates admitting to this, she is small. She is smaller. She's smaller than an average mare by like maybe a few inches. She's not Billy size, but she's not fully grown mare size either. She's not Twilight's height when Twilight first became an Alicorn. So having all of this magical potential in a teeny tiny little body is very hard to manage. And that does not help confidence at all when you can't figure out how to manage your own magical abilities. But what does she make up for in skills? Well, she's very skillful at creating rainbows. She even runs on them. She loves making rainbows with her magic. So that's one of her greatest skills. But notice she is not invincible at all. Abilities. Let's move on to abilities. Well, we all recognize these two, right? We already know their abilities, don't we?
Lunar Republic.
I'm sorry, that's a weird way to say Celestia Empire.
Yes.
Plural then.
It's a war! Hold that thought.
No, I can't.
She's too powerful.
Based on Hasbro's show universe, most, if not all, Alicorns have a unique power that represents who they are or within their universe. So when I say universe, bear that in mind. This is Hasbro's universe. You can create your own universe, your own rules. And if your Alicorn functions in that universe, then have at it. Your rules. But if you're going show style Hasbro, then there are rules to follow. So, So Princess Celestia, she can raise the sun and brings about the day. Luna with her power of raising the moon and representing the night. Cadence and her ability to spread love, representing family. And of course, Princess Twilight with her ability to understand friendship. So with your Alicorn OC, finding a magical ability to establish what kind of character they're going to be is very important. Starting off with something revolving around nature, universal, abstract, emotional. You can pick from any of these, and you get creative about it. It's okay to be creative with this, but remember what I said back on traits. Do not get sucked into giving the Alicorn too much power. So even as I speak right now, Bliss is not even sure what her Alicorn abilities are. That's another disadvantage that she has. She's trying to figure that out through her Magic Lesson series. Please watch. Abilities to avoid. Yes, this is a very big one. This will help. Again, if this is in your universe though, follow your own rules. But if you're going with Hasbro's universe, you might want to avoid this. Avoid abilities such as controlling the universe. You are basically God mode at this point. So how's that relatable? No one's going to relate to that. Why would we relate to God? Or your version of God, for that matter. Controlling time. Hello, Starlight Glimmer. Or even the creation of life. Well, so you're the Alicorn of life? Again, that's God mode. These are all God mode tiers. That's boring. Does anybody here play Gmod? Have you all, or Minecraft? Have you played in creative mode, where you can fly around and summon whatever you want?
Creative mode.
Does it eventually get boring?
No.
It does.
Real answer,
It
please.
Real
does.
answer, please.
Well,
Yeah.
don't think so.
Are you ever challenged by your enemies?
No.
Do y'all ever have a goal that you can never reach or have struggles reaching?
I'd say it depends.
It depends, yeah. But the answer is yeah, you don't. So having a God mode tier level is it's no longer fun after a while. Watch Mary Sue, Mad Munchkin's Mary Sue. She'll explain even better. Lightning Bliss being able to control the prism light with the will of her horn and spreading rainbows, thus to most branding her as the Alicorn Rainbows. At least she thinks, we don't know. Though it's not fully established yet. Part of what makes my OC so unique is that she's still trying to discover what kind of Alicorn she's meant to be. But for those who wish to start out on being an Alicorn, who can control their abilities. See, you don't want to directly copy me because Bliss is still trying to figure out. But if you want to establish an OC that is an Alicorn that knows who they are and what their magic is about, well, these are some abilities you may want to avoid. Otherwise, again, going back to traits, they won't grow. Personalities! I love this part. Now we come to one of the most important aspects of an Alicorn OC's design. There are literally hundreds of personality traits you could give your Alicorn OC, but remember that what you choose will determine how they grow as a character, which means there needs to be a balance of positive and negative personality traits, not just one or the other. Otherwise, what do we get?
Mary Sue.
What do we get? What was that again?
Mary Sue.
I want to hear that again.
Mary Sue.
Mary Sue.
Mary Sue.
Mary Sue, Mary Sue. You do not want this. You don't want all good, honest, empathetic, generous, humble, supportive, compassionate, patient. Oh, you're just the perfect little cinnamon roll. Or you want to be the edgy, dishonest, apathetic, greedy, arrogant, manipulative, patient. I could go on here. Ooh, so edgy. I'm gonna cut myself looking at you. You don't want that though. You don't. You want something in between. I'm scared here, being stuck between these two. It's scary. This is a trap a lot of people fall for, though. They think that what did I say here? I wrote this pretty well. See, I write good when I know what I want to say. So, people want to cram in all the good traits as possible or negative because in the creator's mind, having negative personality traits reflects upon them. And they want themselves, like their Alicorn OC, to be accepted and viewed as good and somebody that can relate to, right? You don't want to feel like your OC represents you in a bad way. So you want to give all the good personality traits as much as you want, right? I mean, depending on what you want. So let's say you wanted to introduce yourself to some people and the first thing you say about your Alicorn OC is, oh, they're all good. There's something they can do wrong because you don't want to be viewed as negative, correct? But that's not relatable. None of us here are perfect. I'm not perfect. Like, you can already tell I'm not perfect because I'm scared, I'm shy, I'm a little nervous, I'm fumbling over my words, that I have to hold up my phone to read what I'm saying. By the way, I cannot write any of this, I'm ad-libbing. This is just for security. But my point is, none of us here are perfect. And that's okay. It's okay not to be perfect. You can have flaws. That's how we relate to each other. That's how we improve on each other. That's the journey through life, becoming a better you, right? So,
Nope.
so realistically, this is not how any character works in any story. Just like it doesn't work in real life. A character that doesn't have flaws and is perfect in every way is not only unrelatable, but again, boring. When you feel like your character is too good or too evil, remember to give them a little bit of balance. Give them a little bit of both. Balance it out. So we're going to go through some examples with Blissy here because I just love picking on myself. Because yeah, if anybody has not guessed, Lightning Bliss is a representation of me. You technically only see the aspects that I want you to see on my show though. You don't see all of me, but you see some of me. So, an exaggerated version, but yes. Lightning Bliss's personality traits when it comes to positivity are, well, loyal, cheerful, creative, playful, apologetic, hardworking, courageous, determined. But I can easily point out my opposites. I am bratty. I am very bratty. You can ask my friends, I'm very bratty. I am anxious. I need to go to therapy for that one. I am an anxious being. Angry. Yeah, y'all have seen Thunderblight, right? For those who don't know who Thunderblight is, she is the personality trait I am the least proud of, and she only pops out of Bliss when Bliss is just that angry and she's trying to repress it. But that's a side of me I'm not proud to show. I've only had a handful of friends who've seen it, and they'll tell you right now, it's scary. Just let me walk away when I'm starting to get angry. Let me walk away, please. Just let me walk away. Let me cool off. Impatient. Yes, that's a big one. I am very impatient sometimes. Especially when it comes to, because I like, a lot of my friends will call me Twilighting sometimes, especially when I want to fix something. I get really impatient because if something goes wrong, whether a friend is fighting or a friend is in trouble or something's going on with a project that I need to fix, I gotta do this, I gotta do it right now, Bliss, sweet, nice. Okay. You're a little impatient. No, I'm not! Jealous. Yeah, I can get jealous very easily. I get jealous of my friend's the Will Stainer. He can steal the spotlight like that because he's a great voice actor. He's got a great singing voice. He can dance. Oh yeah, I get jealous. I'm still his friend, but I can admit when I get jealous. There's nothing wrong with it. Careless. Yeah, Bliss, you want to talk about that? Sometimes I will go in head first because I am impatient, but that results in being careless. You don't think things through. Stubborn, welcome to Texas.
Yep.
The embodiment of stubborn. I am a full-fledged local Texan. I was born and raised here, not here, but in Texas. So, yes, we are very stubborn. And last but not least, workaholic. I like to hide myself in my work. I like to make people happy. And sometimes I feel like that's the only way I can show value is through working. It's not a healthy thing though. And for Bliss, it's not a healthy thing either. Why do you think she has guards? To literally keep her from peeling over from working so much and forgetting to do the basic life things like eating, drinking, sleeping.
I thought you talked to Doc about that.
Yeah. Ah. Moving on. So yes, everybody got that? Everybody got that?
Yeah.
Okay. Personality traits. Balance them out. Don't feel bad about having bad personality traits. Origins. How did your OC become an alicorn? Right there? Oh, there. With this part of the development phase, it can be a bit more challenging because normally an Alicorn OC isn't established until they went on a journey to becoming an Alicorn that now stands before us, like Twilight. Twilight had to go through a journey of learning about friendship before she became an Alicorn. And we went through that with her. That was the journey. Which means we are skipping that entirely and going straight for that. The OC accomplishing being an Alicorn. Now, there isn't really a wrong way to go about this, but there are some things you do need to watch out for. Things to avoid. Number 1, making them relatives of a canon character of the show.
But I've been single for years.
I've seen this a lot. It makes me cringe.
Yes, very much so.
Making them relatives of canon characters of the show, more often than not, anyone who establishes an OC that is related to a main character of the show, or even a side character, tends to be viewed as lazy writing because you're using an already created story that's been established and you're just doing that to make your character look good. Yeah, sorry, I hate to be blunt, but it is lazy writing. Without putting forth any effort to establish yourself. You're already writing on somebody else's accomplishment by saying, oh, I'm Celestia's daughter. Okay? So there's nothing else about you other than you're Celestia's daughter? Bruh.
Because
Plus, it simply leaves gaps in the story of a canon series. Like, okay, you're Celestia's daughter, explain that. I dare you to explain that, because Hasbro certainly did it. I will point out, though, that some people have been able to make this work. I will point that out. But I don't encourage it. It is really, really hard to establish it. It's really hard to make it work. But if it's what you want, then more power to you. Just saying. Again, there is really no right or wrong way to do this. It's what you want at the end of the day. I don't encourage it. Personally. Number 2. Avoid making your backstories overly sad or depressing. Again, I met this one Alicorn OC. It was a great design, very pretty, colorful, not over colorful, and she looked happy as a bee. And then I read the backstory. All her family were killed. Her horn was chopped off. She was enslaved by a tyrant. And then one day she became an Alicorn and then the avatar that was representing her looked like she had never suffered any trauma. It was crazy.
What?
Or even bloody. Yeah, I've seen those too. Bloody backstories. So, keep the story realistic enough without going too over the top. Much like with going too overboard with developing traits. Okay, I don't have a panel that. That's okay. So, Lightning Bliss was a Pegasus who grew up in Cloudsdale with her family. Though sadly, she lost her father and ended up moving to Appaloosa to be with her mother and stepfather, who was an Earthbound. She was raised in a fairly balanced home life and later discovered the stallion of her dreams, Sub-Zero. She would later marry him and move to Ponyville, where she worked on establishing her future career as an artist and working on the internet in the secret rent. But before she and her husband would settle into their new home together, they decided to take their honeymoon to the Crystal Empire so that they could see the Northern Lights. During their trip, they decided to take the night flight to see the Crystal Heart Lights, or the Aurora Borealis, in the sky. Lightning Bliss was suddenly caught in a mysterious bright light that whooshed her away into the Alicorn dimension. What seemed to happen in a few split seconds of shock, she was spat out, no longer as a Pegasus, but as a small Alicorn. And thus was when a new chapter in her life began. So that's just a short summary of Lightning Bliss's backstory. But as you can see, she was sucked up into the Alicorn division without any rhyme or reason and spat out, and now she has to figure out why. There's your backstory. There's your origins, and there's the start of a story. That's chapter in the life. Oh, I love this part.
Oh no.
Wait! Do I really need to do all this? Do you?
No.
Do y'all really need to do all this?
No, not
Do you? Do you? Do you? No! You can do whatever you want! It's fine. But be ready to back up your reasons why.
I mean, yeah.
So, now to get to the real meat and grits. I'm not gonna lie, having an Alicorn OC is difficult because many owners of one gets a lot of complaints and critique.
Yes.
I don't know. I still get them today. Sometimes unwanted by the fandom, to the point that not many can handle this challenge. Simply telling those who ask you, why do you have an Alicorn OC? Because you felt like it, tends to be viewed as no effort, lazy writing, or an excuse to look better than everybody else who has an average pony OC. The internet doesn't hold back punches, so try to keep that in mind when you create your Alicorn OC. If you have a strong spine and a thick skin, you will go far with your OC. Be proud of it. But just be aware, you are going to get some feedback, you're going to get some lash outs, you're going to get some critique, and it's probably not going to be likable, it's probably going to be mean, it's probably going to be unwanted, but be aware. If you can handle it, then more power to you. And now come to our final part of creating your own Alicorn OC, and so happens to be my favorite part. Designing it. Woo! That design it. Technically, if you decide to design your OC before establishing the backstory, abilities, traits, and personality, there's nothing wrong with that. I did it. But it will make it a little bit more challenging going down the line, as your writing will have to cater to the first and foremost. Avoid, what did I type? Okay. Avoid using, Be original. Avoid bases. Please, for the love of Pete, please avoid the basis. I have seen a lot of recolors of Twilight Sparkle, and Luna, and Cadence.
Oh no.
Especially this one. Everybody knows about this one. Holy cow.
Wait, what is that?
But it's just a Google search.
Indeed, what is that?
Seriously.
Like,
It looks like barf almost.
it looks like Cadence and she was drowned in tar and then painted on.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
It looks like a painted toy.
I don't encourage bases. There's nothing wrong with using a base if you're practicing though. But if you're gonna post it online and claim that it's yours, you better credit the artist who made the base. I am an artist. I've seen this too many times where somebody took somebody's base, claimed it as their own, and said, oh, this is my OC, and never credit the artist who made their base. Don't do that. It's naughty. It's naughty. Don't do that. So be creative. Create it yourself. Or if, what did I write here? What did I write here? Come on. I gotta stick to my notes here. I lost my notes. Okay, there we go. If you don't know how to draw or do artwork yourself, that's okay. Just try to do your best anyway. Or, if you're lucky, politely ask a friend who can draw for you, or hire an artist that can help you establish and finalize your OC design. Please remember to pay your hired artist, by the way. Saying that, I'm going to pay you with, what's the word? What do you call that?
Exposure.
Exposure.
You see how happy I am about that.
I'm not, you insolent fools! Okay, check out Thunderball, I come back. I am a professional hired freelance artist. Hello. I gotta pay my bills too. So always be respectful when going about hiring someone to create your OC. On a personal note, try to establish a main color for yourself and how you want to represent your character. But don't immediately go to a solid, saturated state of that color. Like, I made this mistake. I made this in the past when I first created Lightning Bliss. I made her solid white.
Yikes.
I made her hair and the long part of her tail solid black. I made her rainbows saturated red, orange, yellow, blue, green, it was bad. And on a professional artistic level, the reason why that's bad is because not only can you shade properly with these colors, you can't. You really can't. Other artists can't work with it very well. It also bleeds on web browsers, web pages. And what I mean by bleed, it pixelates, it doesn't look good. And I've done this before, and it just, so never go with the solid red in your Photoshop or your Adobe Flash or whatever it is you use. And try to go for more an offbeat red or a pastel red. That's what I did with Bliss as I updated her as I went. So, like, you can see the red in the sign or the red in her hair right here. It's not a solid red. It's more of a slightly grayish, deep reddish hue. It's, for Pete's sake, it's cinnamon! And trust me, you're going to want that flexibility when you hire an artist to create fan art of your OC. So yeah, don't go solid on me. Let's see, Bliss. Oh, yeah, I was basically just talking about Bliss. Even the rainbow highlights are not as already said that. Have fun with it regardless. Yes, experiment. Don't be afraid to experiment. You can create several different versions of your OC and still not be happy with it. That's okay. Any professional artist will tell you that when they're trying to create a character for the first time, it may take them hundreds of tries. Maybe not. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. But just because it happens more often, like you've thrown out your 100th, 200th version of a character and you didn't like it and you're getting frustrated, take a deep breath, relax, you'll get there, you'll find something, you'll get inspired, but don't beat yourself up, it may take a little time. Just keep at it until you find something you like. And don't be discouraged. Because copter roll, what matters at the end of the day is you are happy with the Alicorn OC you created. So keep at it until you are. And as you can see, we got a few of the OCs from our community. These two, I mean, we all know who this is. For those who don't know who that is Euphoria. She is the fusion of Lightning Bliss and Aeon of Dreams, so she is her own Alicorn in her own right. But then we got my girl Dead Pony. She is an artist in the community. I love her design very much. For those who don't know who this is Starry Flame, and she is a BA. Please be sure to check out her work. And of course, we have Fostercorn. So everybody.
Mother Faust!
Yeah. Here's the thing about Fostercorn. She has a right to be an Alicorn.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Who created Equestria? There you go.
Lord and Savior.
And technically, Bonnie Corn created the G1 series, though I did meet Bonnie Zachary at BurnCon, and my experience with her was kind of iffy. She created the toy line. She didn't officially create the show. and she wasn't too thrilled about how the show went about things because she wanted the ponies to remain realistic looking. So it was something interesting that she told me, which kind of bummed me out, but it is what it is. She's still, technically, if it weren't for her, MLP would not be alive today. So, yeah. There you go.
Artists can disagree.
What time is it? Oh, look at that. We got plenty of time. Sweet. Well, hallelujah. Guess what time it is? Ugh. It's this time.
It's question
Of
time.
course, I'll do questions. Okay. So we're going to have some questions time, or we can just chat. We'll see. So, who has a question? Yes.
So I actually have a comment and I also have a question.
Okay.
For my comments, regarding to you saying the saturation thing, in my own experience, when you use a fully saturated color like you said, you kind of seal yourself into a corner and there's not a whole lot of expression you can do with that. Whereas if you use like multiple shades of red, for example, you can get really creative and you can make some really awesome designs. I've seen some really great stuff online with shades of colors. So I just wanted to add that just as an extra incentive not to use saturated colors.
Yeah, absolutely.
My question though, I'm not personally interested in it, but I did want to ask in case anybody here was interested. Alternate forms, like Daybreaker or Nightmare Moon. Do you have any comments about that, or maybe designing something like that?
I mean, I have one. Thunderblight.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm not real
Oh, no,
familiar,
you're good,
but
you're good.
I was just curious. Do you have any comments about maybe balancing that out, or anything you would like to add about that?
No, it's just a question of, is it for story reasons? Is it for fun reasons? There's really no harm in it at all if people want to do that. I will point out right now, it's nothing new. It's been done by other popular shows already, not just My Little Pony, where somebody will have an alter ego. It's like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. It's there. It's already been established. But if you want to do it for the sake of story design and you want to have fun with that character's design, well, you need to establish what is this personality trait for that character, because clearly they are supposed to be the polar opposite of your character, depending on what it is. When I created Thunderblight, I wanted her to be the dark impulses of Lightning Bliss, just like Nightmare Moon. That was Luna's darker impulses. Daybreaker is Celestia's darker impulses. Thunderblight is relatively the same. She is hate. She is all of Bliss's emotional hate, bundled up into one monochrome little body. And it's funny because, let me go back to that one little slide that I had. There it is. Personality traits. So that's Thunderblight right there, the little grumpy gray one in the back.
Okay.
She is a representation, like, I don't know if anybody noticed the fact that all the personality traits came out of Bliss's color design and her cutie mark. So Thunderblight came from the Thunderbolt. We got like confidence over here. I called her a Tornado Blaze. We have love and passion, Windy Heart. I actually am going to redesign this character to be more like kindness and friendship, but yeah, we had rainy zest, and then we have swirly giggles, the crazy one, and then we have breezy Riley and stormy days. You can already establish by the colors alone who they are.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Were these personalities kind of inspired by the Raven episode?
Yes. That was that.
I knew it!
That totally took inspiration. Yes. However, I did do some color theory research. I watched Simple Pearl's panel and Josh Scorcher's panel about color research. And color is very important when it comes to establishing your character's design. Originally when I designed Bliss, I chose the white palette because I legit just couldn't pick a color. I love all colors. I just can't do it. So I'm like, okay, she's just gonna be white with a black mane and all the colors. I really hate myself sometimes because redrawing those highlights can be a real pain in the butt. Yes.
I have a few question. So, firstly, so you said before to not take from the basis, but I've seen a lot of OCs where they take like the basic. So, for first thing I want to say, I'm very new to the fandom, so I know like a lot of people they would take from like the basics of how all ponies look, and they add on top of that. But I also see these where they do still have the basic pony design, but they're also very stylized and look very different from like other characters within the show. So when you're saying don't take from the shell, it's literally don't take from this is Twilight,
Oh, no,
and
no,
I
no.
add different colors.
I said don't use bases.
What does that? What do you mean then?
A base is basically from the show's design.
Okay.
Exactly, an exact copy. You will get copyrighted for that. So let me go to a show style art piece of Lightning Bliss. I call it show style because, well, it is. Okay, here we go. So she looks like she could have come from the show, right? That is still my design. I still created that from scratch. I did not use a base. I created my own puppet. I created my own bases, my own symbols. I know I'm talking a lot of tech here, but basically I did not go online and rip a base from Google and then over painting it and stuff. That's what I meant.
Oh, okay, I can see
Yeah.
that. And the second thing I would say, as like an artist myself, whenever I add like a really pale character or like literally I want them to look white,
Yeah.
something you can do is like say like if their hair color is really dark, if you have like say a very pale brown or very pale gray, it's not white. It's not base white. That makes it so you can add different highlights. And if you add like darker colors on other parts of it, it will look like it's white when it's actually not white. It's like a gray. So that's something you can still do if you want like a white base.
Y'all probably didn't notice this, but yeah, because I wanna add to it. Let me see if I can do this. Oh, okay. Yeah. Alrighty, yes I can. I want y'all to take a good look at Celestia right here.
Like
I want y'all to take a good look at her white color palette. She's not all white. As a matter of fact, she's an off-white pink. You can even tap on the color when you want to look at her in one of your artware softwares, and it will show you that you're in the pink swab, or fuchsia swab, or even purple swab. It depends on your assets. She is not a pure white.
Did one of the toys at one point turn out completely pink once?
Yeah.
Yes.
I got that completely wrong.
Actually, if you look up any of the MLP characters, each of them have their own wiki, and like you go down to like the about them, it does actually give you like exact names for the colors of like their whole scheme.
Exactly. Looks like we got about. Oh wait, no. Oh yeah, we're going to 3:15. Oh, I keep thinking we're gonna end at 3. No, we're good. Yeah, we're good. Anybody have any more questions? Don't be shy. Don't be scared. I'm scared.
What app do you use or platform for?
So, for like my artwork or videos, all the above. All the above. Okay. So when I create my vectors, let's see if I can pull up Lightning Bliss in full. There we go. So I create all of my puppets and assets in a very, very old version from 2003, 2004. No, it is 2005. Okay. Adobe Flash. Adobe Flash is great for animating using symbols, which basically means you create the artwork in Flash and then you turn it into a symbol, which you can use to manipulate later on in the timeline. That's how I establish my puppets. It is a combination of assets turned into symbols that are on top of each other to create a puppet. And that puppet can be used to be repositioned however I want. So in this case, I had her wings up and her eyes looking at the camera and she's smiling. I only use that for the purpose of posing, not so much for animation, though lately I have been getting into animation using puppeteering. The only reason why I don't really use puppet animation very often, or I don't prefer it, was because I was educated in traditional artwork, animation. And traditional means taking a pencil and a pen and drawing frame by frame by frame. I don't use puppets, but in this case and in my show, I have been using puppet animation lately. Better at it, slowly. One second. And as for video making, everything I've created from my artwork assets, I put into Adobe After Effects. I believe it's still called After Effects on Adobe. You can find all this software in their website, however, you can no longer purchase it, you can rent it. That means selling your soul to Adobe. Have fun. I own
literally
my
got
software, but unfortunately it's the old stuff, so it's never gonna update.
And when you want to do artwork digitally, what app do you use? Metabang?
When I do it by tablet and pen, I use Sai. That's actually a free downloadable artwork software that you can use.
I've never heard of that.
Yeah, it's called SAI, all caps, Sai. Yeah, look it up. It's a pretty good software. What was your question?
I just wanted to add to it. Fun fact, if you guys don't know, I'm like a huge computer nerd. This is why I know this. The show was actually animated with Adobe Flash, which is why you can achieve the show style so easily with it, and I think that's really cool.
Absolutely, you are correct.
In terms of software, you can use Paint Tool Side if you want to do like the actual drawing. Some other alternatives, you can use Paint.net. It's kind of limited, but Paint.net does get the job done, I think. And you can also, I've heard it's an alternative. I don't personally like it, but it has a lot of features that's similar to Adobe Photoshop. If you don't want to sell your soul to them, you can use GIMP. I've heard some people use GIMP too, so
Krita.
just, yeah, all free.
I
All
use
free.
Krita, and I use it for when I mostly start with art. I use like a background color, because that's what I start with sketching, because I have a digital tablet now, so I'm starting that. I've done costly art for at least since 2003. I started very young.
Yeah, absolutely.
You gotta start somewhere.
Yeah, there's no shame in downloading free software to get yourself started. If you want to purchase later on, you can. You just do your research. You can Google's your friend. Yes.
What is your opinion of OCs that are made using just, like DeviantArt pony generators?
Yes.
Good for
Well,
response, but
yeah.
not good for actually making an artistic background.
Oh, I didn't know you were liking this. But yes, he was gonna basically steal my answer at that point. I am not against people using it as a reference. Like
It's a
they
good
need
starting
help
point.
to get an idea what their character might look like.
Yeah, it's a good
That's
start.
a great way to start if you can find it, because these days I'm told it's actually obsolete. You can't find it anymore. Pony Creator, I don't know where it is anymore. It doesn't exist.
You have to use a third party to get into it, I
You
think.
may have to, yeah, because the reason why it's no longer easy to access or you can't find it anymore is because Adobe Flash is no longer available on the internet.
Was it created by the Zombie Cell, I think?
I have no idea. I just
General,
know that it's gone.
General Zoe.
Yeah. I did actually try to create Lightning Bliss on that. I did, just to see, because I thought that was going to be show style generating. It was not. It was not.
And that came out over a decade ago.
Oh yeah, that thing was old.
I took out guilty. I had to use it to even do my own scene. I was like, yep, I'm going to get someone else to help me out here.
And again, there is nothing wrong with using bases. Do not get me wrong on that. I have no problem with people using bases
Yeah.
to help you establish what your OC is going to look like. I have a problem though when people use bases and they claim it as their own.
Mm.
That's not okay.
And also re-uploading people's stuff without
Yeah,
permission. I've
exactly.
seen that on DeviantArt and Nibiru and Twibrew. There's so many places I found, even people artwork when they're private and stuff, they re-upload it somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
That's
You can hire an artist who makes show style work like I do. Like I am hired a lot of the time to make vector packages for people. Because for those who like to watch my show, or I do a review and then you want to have your character talking about something on one of your videos, artists like me can be hired to make them, and they are your vectors to keep because you pay for them. But obviously give credit to the artist for making them. Even if it is your OC, it's just being polite. It's common courtesy. And we appreciate it. We appreciate your business. Why am I doing this accent? But yeah, there are artists that do vector packages. I do them. There's a Trailgrazer who does them. Golden Fox did do them at one point. I don't think he does anymore. Oblivion Fall will do them, though I hear he's hard to get in touch with. But yeah, if you browse around, look around, you'll find some people that'll be willing to make even better package for them. Yes, is someone raising their hand back there? Hello,
Yes.
what's up?
On the subject of Mary Sue's, every now and then someone comes around and they get a great idea.
Yes.
They're gonna make a parody of a Mary Sue character. Sometimes it turns out better than others.
How are you?
I've made a pair of them myself because there are too many
Kinda
traits
anxious?
of Mary Sue to fit into one character.
Yeah.
I was
You seem like
wondering,
you're kind of like a
what do you
little
think about
anxious sometimes.
What do I think about Mary Sue's?
Mary Sue parodies?
Mary Sue parodies. Well, I mean,
Oh.
if it's for entertainment, why would I have a problem with it? If it's for a good laugh.
I feel like that's a question for Betty Munchkin.
Yeah, if that's so. Here's the thing. Here's the interesting thing about. Here's the thing about Mary Sue. Oh my God, Mary Sue. She is the best paradox. Because, ironically, when I say a Mary Sue is a Mary Sue, which is a character that never adapts or grows to the narrations of the writer, Mary Sue doesn't do that. Mary Sue actually does grow in some aspects. So it's like, wait, if she's a character that's growing in some aspects, does that make her not a Mary Sue?
Good character.
But she breaks all logic.
Exactly. But she also develops, so how does that make her a Mary Sue? That's because I'm a paradox.
And also the Tier 2 anarchy always getting shenanigans.
Well, I want to point this out too with TO2 Analysis Anarchy. That is not canon to Mad Max's channel. I have to make that abundantly clear because a lot of her fans seem to be under the impression that anything that happens on Dr. Wolf's channel is canon to ours. That's not the case. TO2 is basically us brilliant analysis coming together to have fun. So whatever's canon in TO2 is canon in TO2, but that doesn't mean it's canon for our channels. So, yeah. Gotta point that out. So Mary Sue is called Business Paradox. And I wish Maddie was here, otherwise she'd be loving to share in this panel for sure, because she would have a lot to say about Alicorn's development. But like I said, you can create an Alicorn. Just follow some rules. Make them likable, make them relatable. Do not make them overpowered. They are not invincible. Don't do that.
It's bad writing too.
If you're gonna do that, do not make them a main character. The best example I can give on that would be like Aeon of Dreams. Aeon of Dreams is a Gary Stu done right. He is a character that you cannot use in the foreground. He is not the main protagonist. He is a supportive cast member at best. Because if he were in the foreground all the time, he wouldn't be relatable, he would be boring. That's why he's great when he's around other characters, because if he weren't the main focus, well, we'd have a problem. Because he is a force of nature.
And chaos.
He is a demon. You can't destroy a demon, you can't conquer a demon. I guess there are rules to demons too, but you get what I mean.
So
Yes.
what if you, on the demon subject, what if you make like a demon OC, Alicorn OC?
A demon out.
Oh, demon all.
I've not seen that before. Go ahead.
What?
No, go ahead. What was your question?
No, I mean like your,
What if we made one?
yes, exactly.
You have to establish the same rules. Good luck. Because I can tell you right off the bat, see, I already started chuckling when you said Demon Alicorn OC. I already started chuckling at that because I was already thinking, oh, that's going to be a handful of words to balance out. Because demons are already overpowered. And Alicorns are powerful too, so how do you balance that out? Like,
No contrast. Where do they
you're going to
come
have to
from?
think really hard on it.
Have them make a deal with someone unsuspecting and then release them on the world, maybe?
I mean, you could go like the Inuyasha route, I guess.
Yes.
The half demon, the half Alicorn demon thing. My father was a demon. My mother was an Alicorn. Oh, God! I can't have fun explaining this and making this character relatable.
Even some younger people also do that too. It feels like the most common kind of people I see. It seems like it's a lot of young kids that don't even know how to write good characters.
I I got ugly comments before saying that my backstory was too dark and too sad and too edgy, which the sad irony is, it's based off my real life. I'm sorry that my real life was really sad to you. Because yes, back then, I did lose my dad back in 2010, and I did move in with my mother and my stepfather. I had been living with him though before he passed away. I want to point that out. That's the significant difference. And yes, sadly, I'm doing better now, but I did lose my stepfather last year on top. And the exact same day as my dad. 12 years later, it's same day. Don't ask me how that happened. But yeah, don't be discouraged by what people say about your character's design or backstory. What matters at the end of the day is if you like it. But obviously just be ready to defend it, or be ready to get some feedback, or unwanted critique, or unwanted scrutiny, because I get it all the time. I've gotten comments as ugly as, "Oh my God, why would you give her a rat tail?"
What?
It's not a rat tail, it's a lion tail. It's a unicorn tradition, even though she's a Pegasus.
I thought it was a griffin tail.
Wait a minute, I have something like that from my OC. Someone draw her basically with a long tail with a very long hairpiece with tie knots and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
There's nothing wrong with it. It's what I wanted, it's what I chose. Somebody asked me nicely about why did you choose that. I'm like, oh, I'm a huge The Last Unicorn fan. I love The Last Unicorn. So,
Oh, no, I can
it's
see
like,
it.
well, why rainbows? Oh, I love Rainbow Bright. I love Starlight. Starlight's the best horse ever. He is the magical horse of the universe who runs on rainbows. What do you think Lightning Bliss kids running on rainbows from? And it's like, okay, well, why did you make her a Pegasus originally, Firefly? Firefly, come back to me, make the night as bright as day. So yeah, I'm a G1 fan. So.
Another thing too is when people lore dump all their characters too.
Mm-hmm. Yes, you were raising your hand.
I have an Alicorn OC, actually.
I'm sorry?
I have an Alicorn OC.
Okay.
What's her name?
Erica Moon Erika. Negri Moon Erika.
Erica.
Moon Erika, yeah.
Erica. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
She's a German Alicorn, and yeah, similar to Ariane, but less political stuff.
Less political stuff. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's a commander, actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But it's a joke, but then she got popular apparently. I kept her.
Nice.
She backfired in a good way.
It backfired in a good way, yeah. I mean, that tends to happen. I mean, like, originally when I made Lightning Bliss, she wasn't meant to be small. She was meant to be an average-sized mare who just happens to be an alicorn. But then everybody misunderstood that and thought, oh, she's smaller than the average mare. I don't know how that got misconstrued. But then everybody kept making her smaller than everybody else. So I'm like, okay, fine, she's smaller. Fine, she's smaller than the average mare. There, you happy? Okay, we're gonna make her small. Oh, and the big ears were also a happy accident, but I kept it because it is a funny metaphorical hint at a physical disability I do have, which is I have an auditory processing disorder. Meaning that I might hear what you say, but my brain doesn't process it properly sometimes. So I figured, what a funnier way to establish that slight little hiccup than to give her big ears. and of course, it looks like we got about less than 5 minutes, folks. So do we have one more question? One more question or two? We might be able to fit in 2 or 3. Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Do shapeshifters count? They like to look like Alicorn.
I mean, you know what's funny is I mean, my friend Chuggo the Bugger, who's one of my guards, he is a reformed changeling. He's got the horns and the wings. Changelings with that come or just artificial alicorns at this point. They have wings and horns. I don't know. So, yeah. Again, just to reestablish, whatever you decide to do to design an Alicorn OC, consider the rules, consider the writings, consider the design. At the end of the day, be happy with it because it's your character. Just be aware you might get some scrutiny, you might get some ugly feedback or ugly comments, you might get some haters. I get haters all the time. I get people who say that I'm like a wannabe Rainbow Dash.
Or just say to the haters and stuff, oh, thank you for that comment.
Exactly. Or I'll get like, oh, she's got an ugly rat tail. Oh, she looks like her toes are infected with that little gold tip at the end of her hooves. I don't care. Okay, you don't like it, that's your prerogative, but I like it.
It's not an infection. It's fancy hoof polish.
My fans seem to like it, so good.
Kind of be honest, I always thought those were claws.
Well, they're nails. They're the tips of her hooves.
My bad.
Yeah, no, you're good. They're the tips of her hooves.
Can I just say that I love Rainbow in almost every MLP character they create, like in Ming's on his skin and Adoptable's cheeks. I can't get enough of them.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, folks, we got about 2 more minutes left, so last call, last call, okay. I need you to clap it. Thank you, Sal. You put up for me for a whole hour. Good job. Well done. Well done.
Oh.
Well done. Well done.
That's the same exact kind of gear I have at home. Mine's 3 years, almost close to 3 years now.
Oop, crap. Well, guys, that does it. Bye.